Hey everybody, welcome back to Wigs Gaming. Last time around, we talked about the absolute worst Ice-type Pokemon in every single Pokemon generation. Today, we are going to do the exact same thing and talk about the worst Fighting-type Pokemon in every single generation. If you are enjoying the series, I do want to let you know that there will be a new one every single day, so please be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you do not miss out, and please let me know if you enjoyed the video by hitting the like button. Also, feel free to comment down below, let me know what your least favorite fighting type Pokemon is. Let's talk about the absolute worst of the worst. Let's get started with generation number 1. Now, generation number 1 has a lot of great fighting types. Mankey and Primeape are great. The Machop line is great. Poliwrath is great. Hitmonlee is fantastic. There's obviously an odd man out here based off everyone that I said, and that is Hitmonchan. I like the concept of Hitmonchan. It gets all of the elemental punches: ice, fire, thunder. Is there a fourth one? It probably gets Mach or something, or Bullet Punch. So it gets, the elemental punches, which I think is super cool. The problem is, those are all special attacks in Gen 1. So Hitmonchan doesn't really get a lot of good moves. It's more defensive than it is strong, and that's not really the fighting type MO. So I had to go with this. I do think in general, just like we discovered with ice types last time around, that there are a lot of good fighting types, because fighting types are designed to be really offensive, which are types of Pokemon that I like. I think we just have to go with Hitmonchan on this one. I don't think there's anything worse. Now, Gen 2 is going to be hard because they've only added Heracross, Tyrogue, and Hitmontop. So the answer is obviously Tyrogue. It evolves eventually into either Hitmontop, Hitmonchan, or Hitmonlee, which I think is super, super cool. The problem is, what else does this thing do beyond that? I'm glad that this Pokemon has potential, but it is worse or close to worse than Magikarp otherwise. It's also really poorly designed, but that's okay. I can get over that, over the fact that it at least evolves. So it's got to be Tyrogue. Generation 3. What is the worst Pokemon in Generation 3? Fighting type, that is. Another one that is definitely tough. The answer is definitely Meditite. In a generation where this thing is fighting Psychic, it doesn't get any moves to boost its special attack, and it is a mixed attacker. The problem is there's no such thing as a physical Psychic move, and there's no such thing as a special fighting move in Generation 3. So the moveset's complicated. It doesn't really get all that great moves until it evolves into Medicham as well. There's just not a lot of good options for this thing. It's got to be Meditite. Meditite definitely is the worst fighting type in Generation 3. Now, Gen 4, I think, is where things get tricky because I love a lot of these Pokemon. Monferno and Infernape are great. Gallade is great. Toxicroak is great. Lucario and Riolu are fantastic. The answer is obviously Croagunk. I'm not happy that the answer is Croagunk. I like the Pokemon. It's fighting poison in a generation where they properly fixed physical and special attack to the point where poison and fighting moves can be put on your moveset and get good use out of it, but it's really the worst of the good, just like I talked about before. It is not a very good Pokemon up until it evolves, so we have to go with Croagunk here. Unfortunately, that's just how it goes. But Generation 5, I know there's some stinkers in here. I know there is. And I think this one is probably the easiest one so far for me, and that's Scraggy. You don't even know Scraggy's a fighting type. You think it's dark. You think it's normal. You think it might be ground. It gets dry skin for some reason. Scraggy looks horrible. Like, he looks like he just is like some kid who just got pantsed in gym class. And he just doesn't... I don't know. I mean, look at Scraggy and tell me you disagree with me. Does this not look like some kid who just got pantsed in gym class and doesn't know what to do about it and is like all embarrassed because he has no friends? That's Scraggy, man. That's him. That's Scraggy. That's what he looks like. That's how he is. That's poor Scraggy, okay? We all have to accept it. That's who Scraggy is, man. And now, I was not the type of kid who got pantsed in gym class. I was not the type of kid who did the pantsing in gym class, but it happened, as does everywhere else. But that's exactly what Scraggy looks like. That poor kid. All right, Gen 6. Wow, this is hard. They added so many megas too. I forgot Mewtwo X was part fighting. Mega Lucario, Mega Gallade, Halucha. I think it's, oh man. No, it's Mega Lopunny. It's Mega Lopunny. It's Mega Lopunny. With Mega Lopunny, they finally gave Lopunny a fighting type, right? They finally gave Lopunny the fighting type that it deserved because it should have been from the beginning. The problem is it's Lopunny, and it's just, nobody likes this thing. I think they were going for some sort of, like, who's that rabbit girl from Space Jam? I forgot her name. I think that's the look they were going for, knowing that, you know, by the time Gen 6 came out, and really by the time Gen 4 came out, because that's when Lopunny existed, you know, all of us had grown up with that movie, and we were like, oh, we're going to use that. We're going to use that because they remember Lola Bunny was her name, because we remember that. No, it's a bunch of crap, you know. At the end of the day, we don't care. We think Lopunny looks weird. We think it's very weird that you sexualized a Pokemon. I'm just saying, a Pokemon should not be suggestive in any way, shape, or form. It's an animal, but that's what they chose to do. And Lopunny is just not a very good Pokemon, Mega or not. It just isn't. So I'm not interested in it. Generation 7. I like a lot of these too. I do like a lot of these, but there's one Pokemon. There is one Pokemon in Gen 7 that I cannot stand, and it's Komo-o. Cool typing. Dragon and fighting is a cool typing. But you took a Pokemon and you said, let's put a bunch of scales on a dragon and make it a fighting type. I'm not seeing why it's a fighting type, much like I said with Scraggy. Why are you a fighting type? Why? Anybody got any answers for me? That's what I thought. I have no clue. I have no clue why you're a fighting type, but you suck. Yeah, you're bad. Simple as that. There's my reasoning for that one. This is expert analysis here, guys, okay? Here we go. Generation 8. Another quality list. But it obviously... Ooh, is it obvious though? I'm tossed up between two now. I'm going with this guy. I already forgot his name. He's the Wiggler guy. He looks like a Wiggler from Mario. He's just a little wormy guy. He was in Generation 9 as well. I caught one. I forgot his name. Kind of like other times, why is this thing a fighting type? If it got something like Skill Link, I would actually think it's really cool. You know what? Hold on. Okay, I went on Pokemon Database and I found Phalanx. I wanted to see if this thing got Skill Link, because if it does, I actually kind of like the idea of it, because then it's basically like if you have Skill Link, like let's say you use Arm Thrust or something, each one of these guys is specifically hitting, which I think would be super, super cool. So do you get Skill Link? What are your abilities? Battle Armor and Defiant. You don't. Yeah, so you're trash. There's our answer. You're trash. Goodbye. Phalanx, done with you. Gen 9. Gen 9. I like Galarian Tauros. I like Palmo and Palmot. I think we're going to have to go with Great Tusk. Great Tusk, I don't know why you make a Donphan fighting type. And I just don't think it looks different enough from normal Donphan. And they didn't like change its form. So what I like about a lot of these fighting types is their form is completely different. Like how this now stands instead of flies and so on. And Great Tusk, I'm not a fan of Great Tusk. I'm really not. I just have never wanted to use it. It might be strong, but I just don't like the overall design. Now, what is the worst of the worst? I think that's an easy answer. It's got to be Scraggy. I feel bad for the poor guy, but I do want to know why he exists. I just don't know why he exists. So these are the absolute worst fighting types in every generation. For 1, it is Hitmonchan. For 2, it's Tyrogue. For Generation 3, Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald is Meditite. Then we go to Krogunk, Scraggy, Mega Lopunny, Komo-o, Phalanx, Great Tusk, and the worst of the worst is Scraggy. Thank you guys. Oh, excuse me. Wow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to subscribe if you're interested in seeing another one, and I look forward to seeing you then.